Well, politically connected businessman Peter-Paul Ngwenya, who spent nearly 5 years on Robben Island, is back in the Randburg Magistrate's Court today. He's facing a charge of criminal injuria for using racially offensive words in a text message to Investec Chairperson Fani Titi. Now, Titi told the court that he feared for his safety when his friend of 2 decades threatened him using the K word. eNCA's Khayelihle Khumalo is keeping an eye on the case for us this morning. Kaya, a very good morning to you. Now, we're all watching this case very closely because, of course, it brought up a lot of questions at the time as to black-on-black racism. Is that really the case? Is there such a thing? Is it possible? So what exactly is at the heart of this court case?
Well, absolutely, Yuveka. It certainly does bring a lot of dynamics, especially in a country like South Africa, where racism was once institutionalized by virtue of the existence of apartheid. So this is a very first case. It's a first of its kind to be in the court of law. And obviously, and also given the context of the use of the K word, that's a very pertinent question to ask as to what will be the final ruling of the Randburg Magistrate Court. And, oddly enough, the magistrate who's presiding is Pravina Raghunandan, the very same magistrate who was overseeing the case of Vicky Mumberg, who was eventually sentenced for 2 years over her, outburst and the use of the K word itself. So it will be interesting to see the final outcome from the side of the court.
Now, we know the case being postponed last month, the state making its case. They just remind us what the state actually had to say in wrapping up its case.
Well, absolutely. The state really had its own star witnesses who came. Mainly, these were employees from the MRC Media, which is, of course, a company that the two prominent businessmen co-owned. So one of the witnesses, for example, Yuveka, who came, was a financial manager. And he stated, categorically before the courts that it was very life-threatening to see the level of aggression when Mr. Paul Peter Ngwenya came to the company demanding to be paid his money. And, he was saying he had never seen such a treatment, especially from a person of his stature, somebody who had fought for freedom in South Africa, but also as a financial manager. He went as far as telling the courts that it was very demeaning and really concerning to see the degree of violence that was unleashed before the reception. But also another very interesting witness also who came to sort of corroborate the story that was told by the financial manager of the company is another staffer from MRC Media who also stated that it was a very, very terrible situation to see the very aggression and the anger from the side of Mr. Ngwenya. But of course, from his side, Mr. Ngwenya, he's due to take the stand, but of course not today, but we believe that he'll be one of the witnesses to sort of really try and give context and to really try to give an understanding why really did he resort in using such a word that Mr. Titi said was very disappointing to have somebody who fought against apartheid, somebody who went to serve in the Robben Island for some time, and also saying that, he had feared for his life given the military training that he had received during the apartheid era. Mr. Ngwenya had been incarcerated because he was arrested and he was just on his way to Botswana carrying a number of weapons. So on that basis, hence, there is now this threat on his life.
Okay, well, we will expect to hear from the other side today, like you say, Khayelihle. What's been the interest, if I can ask, in the story so far?
Well, obviously, just to try and deduce, just in terms of what the state is trying to present. And also, Yuveka, for Mr. Fani Titi himself to have an opportunity to take the court into his confidence, to really just express himself explicitly how heartbroken he was, having had a friend for nearly 20 years and his friend sending him such a very threatening SMS and calling him a K word. So he was saying it was quite a very terrible experience. And the very word also, Yuveka, he used is that he said before the courts that for him the very main issue was his safety. And also he shared with his wife, and you know, when he got the SMS, and he really had a fright of his life, because I mean, for some time they had done so many businesses, because I mean, these are two prominent business people with quite an important stakes in some of the main radio stations in the country, such as, for example, Kaya FM right in Gauteng, Heart in Cape Town, and also Igagasi FM in KwaZulu-Natal. So from his side, he was really taken aback and really terribly astounded by the turn of events.
Well, I wonder what further fallout there could be from the fight, if we were to put it that. Thank you very much, eNCA's Khayelihle Khumalo, keeping an eye on this case for us. We're back.